Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Hope you're all doing well. And I just realised I can't really wear the hat as much as I wanted to wear it. I literally put the hat on. I have to take it off because I need the headphones for this show, because that's what's specifically for the show. But welcome to Reganelite's Watch Along, where we're watching and reacting to certain clips and views online. We're going to be looking at flags. We're going to be looking at Gaza. They're going to be looking at migrants and a couple of other things as well here tonight. I'm not sure how long this is going to go because I don't really have a lot, but we'll see how it goes. If we can stretch it to an hour and a half, that's a good thing. But we will see how it goes. I've just taken some Gaviscon just to help with the stomach because I've been getting a bit of reflux. So hopefully that will calm down. I've just literally taken it before we went live as well, in case anyone's wondering why I was a few seconds late there. Just want to say hello to Pete's Music. Good to see you there. Hope you are jamming to whatever music you are jamming to, Pete. Good to see you there. Jao, one of our moderators. Good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Guys, check out Jao's YouTube channel as well. Jao, you're more than welcome to put a link in your description to check out his channel if you guys haven't already. Person impersonator, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well as well. Scott, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Alex Adams as well. Hope you guys are all doing well. Good to see you all in the chat. Just a quick reminder, we are live on youtube.com/Reganelite, which where most of our chat is. Though we're also live on twitch.tv/Reganelite1. So if you are on Twitch, feel free to come and say hello on there as well. So before we go into the flags thing, I think it's very important to kind of know, like, what are the laws around flags? So I asked Grok. I asked a bot, yeah, I know. I decided to ask Grok a little question, and he kind of broken it down quite sophisticatedly here. I basically said, what are the laws around flags in England specifically, right? And here's what's Grok's answer. I just want to share it with you guys here. So it says, in England, laws and regulations around flags primarily focus on the display, particularly in contexts involving planning permission, public spaces, and specific uses like advertising. So they have here some oversight views here. So key regulations on flags in England. Number 1, Town and Country Planning Control of Advertisement Regulations of 2007. So it says flags are often considered advertisements if they display logos, commercial message, or branding. Under these regulations, you may need express consent from the local planning authority to fly certain flags, especially on commercial properties or in public spaces. Okay, flags do not require planning permission. Flags that do not require planning permission include national flags, the flag of any country, for example, Union Jack, St George's Cross for England, can be flown without consent, provided it does not carry additional advertisements or logos. Non-commercial flags, flags representing organisations, charities, religious groups, or communities, they may not need consent if they are not promotional. Householder flags, a single flag on a vertical flagpole in a garden of a private home, or a flag projecting pole attached to a house, typically does not require permission as long as it complies with size and placement rules. So yeah, if you wanted to put a flagpole up in your house and put a flag on it in your home, you are perfectly allowed to do that because it is in right your home to a certain extent, really. There, Doc Davis, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. So another thing, under the Town and Country Planning General Permitted Development Order of 2015, certain flags can be flown without planning permission on private property. Okay, so it says here, 1 flagpole in a garden of a dwelling house, maximum height 4.5 meters, or a flag on a projected pole, max projection 2 meters from the building. Size restriction applies. Flags should not exceed 2 square meters in area for residential properties to avoid it needing permission. Multiple flagpoles or oversized flags may require planning permission. So say the word there, may. Specific flag regulations, Union Jack and St George's Cross. These can be flown freely by individuals, businesses, or organisations, provided they are in good condition and are not defaced with additional designs or text that could be deemed offensive or commercial. EU or other international flags. There are no specific bans on flying flags like the EU flag, but they must comply with advertisement or planning rules if displayed publicly. Sports or event flags, temporary flags, for example, e.g. football matches, are generally allowed without permission for short periods, but local councils may intervene if they cause a nuisance. The Public Order Act of 1986 may apply if a flag displayed is deemed to cause distress, alarm, or offence. For example, flying a flag associated with a banned organisation, i.e. terrorist group, could lead to legal action. Local councils or police may intervene if a flag is considered provocative or likely to incite public disorder. So listed buildings and conservative areas. If a property is a listed building or is a conservative area, stricter rules apply. You may need a listed building consent to install a flagpole or fly certain flags, especially if they affect the building character or appearance. Government buildings allow specific protocols for flying flags, such as Union Jack or regional flags, etc. St. George's Cross. The Department of Culture, Media and Sports issue guidance on flags on that. For example, the Union Jack is flown on designated days like the King's Birthday or Remembrance Day, and local authorities may fly the St. George's flag on St. George's Day, which is April 23rd. Flags are used advertising, i.e. business logos or promotions require advertisement consent unless they fall under deemed consent. Feather flags or banners outside shops often need permission if they exceed size limit or are placed in public land. Driving with flags. Attached flags to vehicles are generally allowed, but they must not obscure the driver's view or possess obstruction hazards. So we know in some cases you see when the World Cup and whatnot's on, we notice that cars, they obviously have their flags on the flags out of the window sort of thing. That's totally fine. Local council rules. Always check with your local planning authority, as some councils have specific bylaws or restrictions, especially in urban sensitive areas. While not strictly a legal issue, this is neighbourhood disputes. Flying certain flags, example, political or controversial ones, may lead to complaints. Mediation may be needed for certain if disputes escalate. Flags should be maintained in condition. Torn or furled flags may be seen as disrespectful, especially for national flags. So yeah, and that's pretty much what Grok told me in terms of basically the laws around flags. And I've wanted to express that context with you guys around flags, because obviously there's a lot of questions about whether or not they are right to do certain flags in certain areas. So here's the thing, right? So before I go into any of them, hold on a sec, where's the rest of the links? I thought I had more videos for this. So here's my 2 cents on the issue of flags. Okay, so I'm going to take Grok down now, and I'll bring back up the chat here on my phone before I save my views, because I feel this is important here, because we are going to be talking a bit about this. Alison Kidd, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well, buddy. Anybody else I haven't said hello to? So whether it is any, like, I don't have, like I said, I've said to people about this already. I have an England shirt. I don't wear it as much as I used to, but I still have an England shirt. It's not like I have a problem with it. If I wear it, it's an England football shirt, specifically if people want to know. And I don't see it as being patriotic or anything like that. I just see it me supporting the national team if I go to an England football game. That's how I see it. For me, it's like I'm there to support the team. It's no different if you're wearing, for me, like if you're a Chelsea fan, Arsenal fan, whatever, football fan and whatnot, you know, taking a flag, wearing a shirt sort of thing, you know, supporting your team. I mean, it's even relevant, I suppose, to the wrestling context, why I wear certain wrestlers' shirts to show my support for them. In that regard, I suppose. Now, obviously, we're talking specifically about the English flag that is being used at the moment. What's been happening quite a lot is lots of people have been going around wearing the English flag, painting it down on roundabouts, putting them up on lampposts. We've seen, obviously, property being marked with the English flag as well. And the question, I suppose, is where did this start? I guess my first question is, where did this start from? Why is this being done? And what is the point behind this? Here's the thing. You do not need to put up a flag to show your patriotism. You don't need to carry a flag to show that you're proud to be English or British or Scottish, whatever nationality you are. The best way for you to be proud of your country is by being yourself, is by doing good things, by showing what it means to be English, what it means to be British, to showcase that in a good and positive manner, by setting and leading by example. A flag does not make you any more or less of an Englishman. Waving a flag does not make you more patriotic. It doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't change who you are. It's what you do, what you say, is what defines you and your so-called patriotism, or sovereignty, if you want to say. That is the way that I interpret the look when it comes to it. Now, some people may disagree, but I think it's based on how you speak, how you react, how you talk, and about what things that you do in the example that you set here. So let's start with this one here first. So I want to share this clip from, I think it's the same person, Elliot Steele here, who put out his views here, because there were quite a few of these different views before I played it, but I wanted to start with this one first here, guys. So let's listen to this one.
We need to put England flags everywhere to be proud. The woke lefties, they're annoyed that we're putting England flags up.
No, it's because whenever you go to protect women and children by burning down a hotel with women and children in it, you take the England flag with you. Well done, well done. You've covered the high street that's been destroyed in your area because of austerity in England flags. But at least now everyone will know the grey, miserable hellscape you live in is proper English. But we're sick of not being allowed to be English. Just be English. Have a cup of tea, moan about the weather. Your life sucks because late-stage capitalism is transitioning to fascism to protect itself. Not because the RSPCA will take your dog away from you because you painted it Union Jack colours. But the children, we have to protect the children. Yeah, I agree. The state shouldn't be paying or using taxpayers' money to house predators. So let's all go to the state-funded palace in the middle of London that's draped in Union Jacks and get Prince Andrew out of there.
Winnie?
Yeah. Where are these people when it comes to Prince Andrew? Yeah, couldn't agree more. Where are they? Where are these guys not down there? We got a sexual predator down there. Why are we not doing something about that, man? Why not? Answers on a postcard, please. Exactly. Very, very well said there. Peter Core here, for co-founder of National Rejoin March, obviously speaking on this, and he's obviously a veteran, of course, so he will have a better understanding what it means for the flag as well.
When I was in the army, we used to have the Union Jack sewn to both arms on all our uniforms, and I was proud to wear that uniform with the Union Jack on it because it represented our country. And there's loads of good stuff about our country. There's loads of shit stuff as well, but there's loads of good stuff that we can be proud of. So seeing what these absolute wank stains are doing with our flag around the country at the moment, for no reason other than they don't like brown people, let's be honest, it actually breaks my heart a little bit. Why did we bother defending the country with people like that in it?
It does really sting quite, doesn't it? It really does sting. These days, flags are signs of slavery. He's white! Yes, he is white. That is true. Now, this is not directly related to the issue. This clip here, although it's not directly, but some of you guys may be familiar with this clip. You can't eat a flag. Real politics shouldn't be about waving flags. It should be about developing the standards of living for all sections of your people. The late, great John Hume. I thought this was quite a fitting clip considering everything that is happening as well.
Because I never forget my first political lesson when I was 10 years old. The Nationalist Party were holding an election meeting at the top of the street and waving their flags, and my father, who was unemployed, saw that I was getting emotional too. And he put his hand on my shoulder. He says, "Don't get involved in that stuff, son." I says, "Why not, Dad?" He says, "You can't eat a flag." Think of the wisdom of that real politics shouldn't be about waving flags. It should be about developing the standard of living of all sections of your people. And that's common ground, because both sections need that. And now our people have started working together through their representatives, spilling their sweat, not their blood. And I look forward, that is what I call the healing process. As they work together, break down the barriers of the past, the distrust of the past, and a new society in Ireland, north and south, will evolve. But it will not give victory to either side. It will be based on agreement and respect for difference.
And I thought that about the flag there, because drenching yourself in it to make yourself feel something, to feel the need that you need to be something. Simon says 59 says, what happened to Fairman Talks? I don't know what happened to him. I haven't seen any. Is he put up a new video and I've not seen it? I wouldn't know until I don't know, so I can't answer that. But good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. A Union Jack does not represent a country. It's Great Britain, Scotland, England, Wales, and Northern Ireland, 3 countries and 6 counties. I thought this is a very good one for people who don't know their history about St. George as well. For people to remind people of their history as well. The thing is I'll share my next bit in my next points on this as well in a bit. But yeah.
There is something so funny happening right now in the UK that I'm afraid that when I explain this, it's just going to go over people's heads to the people that this is directed at. But right now, people are crowdfunding and putting up English flags and Union Jack flags all over the UK, like off of their own back. And when it comes to the St. George's flag, do you even actually remember who St. George was? The patron saint of England, the St. George's flag. He was a guy who wasn't born in Palestine, but moved to Palestine after his father died. That's the general historical consensus. He moved to Palestine with his mother, who was, according to, again, consensus, that she was from Palestine. And he was killed in Palestine. He was killed because he was killed by the Roman occupiers, because he refused to change his religion, that he wouldn't sacrifice to the Roman gods. And right now, pro-Palestinian people all over the country are putting up Palestinian flags to stop them being killed and protest them being killed by occupiers. This is just gonna go over people's heads, that in theory we're actually living up to the idea of St. George more than the people who are putting up the St. George's flags. And this is just going to go over their heads. They simply don't get it. Their patron saint died and was killed by occupiers from Palestine, and you're telling us to take down Palestinian flags, which is our version of a visual protest and a representation of our support of a group of people who are mostly Muslim, but there are still Christian Palestinians. And just a few weeks ago, a Christian town in the West Bank was attacked by Israeli Jewish nationalist settlers. And again, about, was it like a month or so ago, the church in Gaza that the Pope called every single day to check in on them before he died was also bombed by Israel. So who is actually truly living up to the idea of who St. George was and the things that he represented? Because it's not you guys.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. History is it's important, that context matters, and the history of St. George there, people forget that. You know, people forget the history. They really do forget their history there. So before I go to the next bit, so essentially, you know, I think we talked a bit about this. There was an analogy I shared a while ago about how people with the English flag are going to, where they go to cricket games, where they go to sports games, you see them there waving the English flag, and you don't think anything of it. You see them supporting the national team. You see it as, it's. I don't see it like over the top patriotism or anything like that. I see it as them trying to represent, you know, they're there to support the national team. That's what it's about. In that regard, there, I think that's a good thing. And hey, it's no different than any other nation with their flags. You know, when Scotland come out, what are you guys doing? You're getting your flags out. Yeah, when you go to watch the football team as well, there, it's no different. The question that I want to know is, where did this start from? Because I don't know where the origin of these flags, flag obsession, start putting flags everywhere obsession came from. Exactly. No, Robert Jenrick started doing it, thinking it was okay, and then he realised, actually, I shouldn't have done that. But what is the ultimate goal of doing this? A part of me feels like they are doing this because they don't know what their identity is. So they're trying to they don't know what they don't know what it is to be English, what it is to represent, and they always come down with this rhetoric. Oh, I'm not racist, but we have like too many immigrants in this country, and it's, for me, it's like, dude, have you ever talked to a Muslim? Have you ever worked with someone who's not English? Have you ever like engaged with these people? Like, you do know that the majority of people in England are white. You do know that, right? Statistically, yeah. You know, and the vast majority, according to most stats out there, the vast majority are legal. But obviously, they don't see it like that. They see them all as invaders or perpetrators, and that's because of the language that comes out of Nigel Farage. It's a big problem. This was an interesting one here. People don't want to see their communities disfigured in this way. DJP holds this foresees a backlash to England's flag campaign, such as Operation Raise the Colours. Yeah, I think this could very well happen. I think, yeah, we should be very concerned about this when it comes to flags here. Very interesting thoughts here.
I was just out today in South London and saw a couple of my local zebra crossings that had been daubed with graffiti in an attempt to turn them into the flag of St George, and also a couple of roundabouts. And I was just making the point that obviously there has been, although there wasn't support for these specific acts, there's been support for the general sort of flag campaign in general from mainstream politicians such as Robert Jenrick and also Nigel Farage, and that I think there is now a danger that there is going to be a backlash starting to generate against this, because the reality is, you know, people may have their views on immigration. People are obviously angry and frustrated with their political class, but I just don't think they want their local communities disfigured in this way. And if as I say, if mainstream politicians try to jump on board the bandwagon of these protests, I think they may well face a backlash.
I don't think people, like, the thing is like if there's a major sporting event, like when the World Cup comes round and I see loads of people with flags and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't faze me at all, because obviously, you know, you're supporting, you want to show your support for "Come on England" sort of thing, or if it's if our Scottish friends up there, you know, "Come on Scotland," you know, if they're in the World Cup or the Euros or whatnot, there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't see why you need to do this now. The World Cup's not till next year. That's one thing that these people don't understand. It's actually the World Cup's next year. It's not this year, and we just had the summer. I mean, like, I don't know if there's something else going on. I mean, it's just, again, like I said, you do not have to put up a flag or put a pole on a flag or paint your community English or whatever to show your patriotism. It's by your words and by your actions that showcase the kind of person that you are. That's how you do it. If you want to wear an English shirt, you can wear an English shirt. If you want to put a flag outside your home, put a flag outside your home. Now, someone actually told me that they weren't allowed to do that, which I don't think is... I'm pretty sure you're allowed to put a flag outside your home or window. If you want to do that, that's your choice. But as we read from Grok's position here, like, it's just... for me, it's always about how you react and how you deal and how you talk about Englishness or sovereignty and whatnot. And I would say I'm a pretty decent person, but I don't, like, I am English, but I don't, but like I said, I have an English shirt in my drawer, but it's not something, like, it does, in a way, does put me off wearing that English shirt, just because of everything that's going on right now. Like, if I go out walking around with an English shirt on, would I be looked at differently because there's no England games on right now? But would people look at me differently simply because of people putting up their flags and putting up loads of flags now? I was told down the road from where I live that people have been doing it near in my area, which I'm very upset about. I've not actually seen it myself, but it does concern me to say the least there. Damon, again, it's good to see you, buddy. Hope you are doing well. Unicorn in Scotland, England's lions are not free. Panthers, the Panthers are the heretic crest of England. The first Wales the dragon. Blue dots are 30 coins Judas sold Christ for. Portuguese flag green in hope, red is the blood of patriots. The spear is the discovery of travels to Portugal. 7 shields are the 7 main Muslim castles conquered by our first king, and also the blue dots are the 30 coins of Judas sold Christ for. Evening, Billy Cusher. I hope you are doing well there. Right, so that is all on Gaza there. Not Gaza, on that. So let's turn our attention to everyone's favourite topic, migrants.
You
'Cause
can't.
hold on, Richard. Because that's definitely the subject that everyone wants to talk about, right? Is migrants. So Richard Tice here was talking to Victoria Derbyshire here. Now, I should point out that Nigel Farage's position on children has changed this morning. He basically rolled back the rhetoric. But the thing is that I think, if I'm absolutely honest, guys, I don't have the clip of him speaking this morning, but I can absolutely guarantee you he had planned to roll back the rhetoric the very next day because he knew that it would cause backlash anyway. The reason he did it was because he wanted to get it out there. Now that he's rolling back on it, doesn't change the fact that he's already said it, he's already put it out there, it's already in the minds of people. So to him, it doesn't matter of him rolling it back because people will see it differently. But here Richard Tice saying, you enter a country illegally and you expect to stay there forever. We don't know how many people are in this country or where they are, so it won't be easy, it will take time. That is the ambition. And Victoria Derbyshire says, so we're going to get ICE type raids. I did say this could happen.
You can't enter a country illegally and expect to stay there forever. Now, the truth is that we don't know how many people are in the country. As a nation, we don't know where they are, so it won't be easy. It'll take time, but that is the ambition, and we will work to find those people who are illegally, who are working illegally, and detain and deport them.
Now here's the thing, like, do I think that Labour are not already doing this? Yeah, I do think Labour are already trying to do this anyway, to a certain extent. And here's the thing, the type of numbers that Nigel Farage spoke about yesterday of deporting, it's just not physically possible. So how do they get the kind of numbers that they're talking about deporting out of the country, or out of the UK, sorry, specifically here? And the only logical solution I can think of is going down the Trump path. And that means fiddling about with people's identity, people who are legal migrants in here, who had their asylum application accepted. The only thing I can see is deporting legal migrants in the UK. That is what I'm generally scared of. I'm absolutely shit scared of Nigel Farage's party doing that in order to make it themselves look like that they are actually deporting people. Now, obviously, there's a question of law, and there is a question of of certain things that they can and can't do. We know that they're going to be leaving if they get into power, the next government, become the next government, they will leave the ECHR. They will leave any kind of laws that will get in the way of them doing this. That those who aren't white in the UK could find themselves deported, even with the correct documents and documentations, unless the courts get in the way, which I do think they can. So it would be interesting to see how that happens, because I do fear we are going to end up with a reform government as of right now, because right now Labour are just they're not responding to this properly. They are doing what they need to do. The problem is that they are not the ones dictating the pace of all the conversation. Reform right now, they are dominating the conversation. They've been dominating the conversation, and Nigel Farage, as Max said on Twitter, is an absolute genius of controlling the narrative. Whether you like Nigel Farage or not, he is a genius of controlling the narrative. He's saying things that appeals to people, whether you like it or not. And Alistair Keir says 600,000 deported are like the Windrush. Even if they are born here or immigrant descent, we are deporting if ECHR is kicked out. The curb is my fear. This is exactly what I'm afraid of. And this will feed into that narrative of people saying, yeah, we're taking back our country, sort of thing. Like, the people aren't saying it. Those people who are on board of this, they are basically racist. They're not going to say it publicly, but they know it's right. What they're doing is racist, because they want to stop. Because they're believing in this conspiracy theory of the great takeover by Muslims and brown people of the UK. You being here is already a big help to our friend Reganelite, says Jow. Oh, well, whenever David is always helpful there. Opportunist, says Billy Kershaw, yeah. Situation is only happening because of the inability of the government to do their jobs and have laws like the rest of Europe to process and either authorize people to stay or deport them. Yeah.
ICE type raids? Is that the kind of thing you are thinking of in order to track illegal migrants down?
We will use whatever technologies and whatever methods are required in order to track people down. And that
Does that include spying on ordinary people? Does that include spying on me, spying on my phone, spying on every single British citizen in the UK to see who they're talking to, who they're engaging with? Are we talking about big surveillance? How you know, any means necessary? Are we talking about, you know, like how far are we going here, Richard?
That's including across using data across all the various government departments, much of which isn't done at the moment, and compelling departments, including the NHS, to share that data. So
force the NHS to share the data of people. Yeah. So remember, there is a surcharge obviously for people who are people who come out from abroad to come and work in the UK. So are they going to just cross-reference every single person who pays the NHS surcharge and just check, right, these people are obviously not English, let's find out about their immigration status? Like, is that where we're going to go? And then they're going to start checking every single person who's used the NHS, who's used this database, and then start tracking down people who aren't white? Is that where we're going to go? Like, how far? Like, again, in breach of people's data. Remember, this is the same UK government, like this Labour government, right? They wanted to open a back door to Apple. They wanted Apple to open a back door so that they can monitor people's WhatsApp messages as well. And Reform, in my view, want to do worse.
that we can identify who is in the country legally and who is here illegally.
Now, there's no such thing as illegal. I don't know how many times we need to say that. They just use that analogy there. It's people who have their asylum application accepted or rejected, or people that are unaccountable for, or here in the UK.
Where will you detain, in prison, unaccompanied children?
People who are not here legally will be detained in facilities that are established, fast track, sort of almost like Nightingale style facilities that will...
Prisons, Richard, is the word you're trying to use, isn't it? It's prisons. Women and children. We're going to put them in prisons. Just say it, Richard. You can say it. You can say what you really want. We know that's what you really want to say deep down, isn't it? You know, because that's really what you're trying to say here. ID cards would sort a lot out, to be fair, says Scott. You know what? That is absolutely true. That would save a lot of trouble. If everyone had ID cards, it would save a lot of trouble.
Put up during COVID, and we can do the same in terms of those who come here illegally across the channel or everywhere else, and it will still, of course, be humane. And children, the numbers of children are very, very small, and it would be
humane. Oh, it's okay. It's only a small number of children. It's not the point. Children are still children, whether it's a small number or a big number.
Properly and appropriately looked after, of course.
Okay, you say they're small, but there are between 700 to 900,000 illegal immigrants, according to the Migration Observatory in the UK. A quarter of them are children. How do you know they'd be safe in the way you were detaining them?
Well, because we'll be detaining them and removing them. And the first thing we're going to be doing is offering to people who are here illegally a voluntary return scheme, which is done elsewhere, has worked quite successfully, for example, in the United States.
Yeah.
And so we should take best practice.
You can't do that. You can't do that with an unaccompanied child, can you? You can't say we're going to give you $2.5 grand and a free flight.
Yeah.
She's absolutely right. Yeah, we're going to introduce a voluntary scheme to kind of. Basically, we're going to copy as much as what MAGA and ICE are doing in America as possible. Like, this is what we're just going to copy the American playbook. This is what we're going to do. And yes, you said this, and Dave McGuinness, with his £5 super chat, said this before about this. As a Scot with dual citizenship and an anti-UK activist, will I be deported? That is a good question. Will you be deported, my friend? Thank you so much for the £5 super chat. You shouldn't be deported because you're a British citizen, but more importantly, you are the Scottish citizen. But will you be deported based on your dual citizenship? The answer should be no. The answer should be no, but is it no? That's the question we don't know. Not to mention you're a veteran as well, and I appreciate the £5 super chat because I've been needing that this week. Has not been very good for me so far, so I do appreciate that. Thank you. My answer is I don't know. Is that?
We'll be looking at all of those specifics. And of course we will be humane, but
of course they will be humane. Yeah, okay.
Let's be absolutely clear. We are not going to accept people being able to stay in the UK illegally, and we're not going to allow people to have families or larger families as...
Oh, okay, so what? Are you going to... Okay, they're not going to be allowed to have families. So what? Are you saying that couples aren't allowed to have... The couples who aren't British, they're not going to be allowed to have kids? Is that what you're implying? So what? Are you going to like stopping having sex? Is that what you're implying, Richard? How exactly? What are you exactly going to do there? Doesn't sound very appropriate, does it?
Part of their strategy to try and unjustly secure asylum in the UK and stay here.
Will you detain and deport women and girls back to women and girl-hating Afghanistan?
We will look at where people should be returned to, and sometimes, you know what, you have to do business with people that you may not like to get a seat.
Oh, that's so okay. So obviously, bear in mind, Richard Tice has changed. Not Richard Tice. Nigel Farage has changed his tune on this. Yeah, but he's not saying no to returning women and children to Afghanistan here. He's not saying no to that.
Ceasefire in Gaza, you have to do business with Hamas. To get a ceasefire in Ukraine, you have to do business with Putin. It's very uncomfortable. It's not where anybody wants to be.
I don't think comparing the conflict in Ukraine between Volodymyr Zelensky and Vladimir Putin is the same comparison as what's happening when it comes to migrants here in the UK. I just don't think it's I don't think it's the same. I don't think you can really make that kind of comparison there, if I'm honest.
Okay,
But
you say that
because
you say that, Mr. Touch.
The right aim. Sometimes you have to do business with people that you may not like. That's just a hard fact of leadership and running a country, running a government.
Well, that's what exactly. Well, isn't that the reason why Keir Starmer actually has a relationship with Donald Trump? Because he's doing it for the benefit of the British citizens, not because he wants to. Did that ever occur to people that on that? Like, did it ever occur to him on that? Thank you so much for the £10 super chat, Alistair. I really appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciated that. I am not a British citizen, said David McGuinness. I live in a monarchy. I'm like you, a subject, not a citizen. Thank you for that, Dave McGuinness. Yes, we'll ignore the passport. I appreciate the £5 super chat. In all seriousness, thank you for your super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, honestly. And thank you, Alison Keir, for the 5 gifted memberships as well. To number 3, Mellow Maggot, Mark Teflar, QA Library, and Paul Fletcher have all been gifted memberships as well. Thank you so much for that. It's really, really appreciated.
So, somebody could have arrived here illegally, even though they are genuinely being oppressed, maltreated, or tortured by the Taliban in Afghanistan, say, and you would send them back there, what, for public lashings?
Well, if people have come across the channel, they've come through a safe country. They come through France, and so that actually they should have claimed asylum elsewhere along the journey. The reason that they've ended up in the UK is because the UK has been far too generous and has become a magnet for people to come here and abuse our hospitality. And the harsh reality is that the vast majority of people coming across the English Channel are actually economic migrants.
So here's the thing, like, here's what he's basically saying is that you, as a migrant, are not allowed to come to the UK. You can go to any other country you want, just not ours. Do not come to our country, is essentially what Richard Tice is saying. Yeah, why didn't they stop in the first country they want to? Did it ever occur that some migrants actually want to go to a specific country? Like, people migrate everywhere all the time. You know, this analogy of they shouldn't come to the UK. Well, people want to come to the UK. People want to work. People want to contribute. And this analogy that everyone who's on those boats are a threat, or that we don't know everything about them, or that they're all criminals or whatnot, it's nonsense. It's flat out nonsense. And I hate this. I hate this analogy. I hate this so much. That all this that they say all the time, that all the people coming across on the boats, they're going to cause trouble. They're all going to die. And yet the same people who are criticising them, yeah, the same people who say about what's happening in Epping, for example, with the migrants there, right? They literally tarnished every single migrant, every single asylum seeker in that specific hotel of being a rapist or a sexual predator, because two people are allegedly, because the case is not over yet, allegedly did something to a young girl, and that's, again, it's an allegation. But because the migrants came, those asylum migrants came from that hotel, everyone else in that hotel is now branded as racist or sexual predators, and that is just pure racist. It's pure racism if you brand them all the same. Yeah, you don't. When a priest in a church, and this is a great analogy. I can't remember who said this, but when a priest abuses a child, yeah, in a church, does that mean that Catholic that Christian and like all other Christians, we have to lambast them as all sexual predators because of one Christian? Are we gonna brand all Christians now sexual predators because one priest did it as well, and this Christian as well? No, we're not. But for some reason, we do this with an asylum seeker, with one or two asylum seekers. We brand them all the same because what? Because of the color of their skin? You can twist it all the way you want it, but the reality is that if you brand all migrants, all asylum seekers as sexual predators or a threat to your children and whatnot, you're a racist, because you're essentially saying that every single brown person, every single person from a certain country or background is a sexual predator of some sort. It's racism, plain and simple. It really, really is. Stephen, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Why don't all migrants come here? Why don't all migrants come here? That's illogical. In other words, Tice, you bastard, you're saying, yep, go back to your lashings and worse. Yeah, these people are reaching a level of paranoia. Well, the problem is that people buy into this. That's the problem. The problem is that people buy into it.
Or, regrettably, part of gangs, money launderers, drug dealers, and the like.
Yeah, don't forget there are white people that are money launderers, grooming gangs and whatnot as well. But remember, you remember Richard Tice and Reform UK, they don't want to talk about the white people. They don't want to talk about those white people. Yeah, if they're different religion or a different skin color, they'll talk about. But if they're white, they won't say anything about it.
You say you will do deals with the Taliban in Afghanistan, you'll do deals with the supreme leader of Iran. How much are you willing to give them in order to accept people you want to deport?
Well, at the moment, we give or take £150 million a year of foreign aid to the Taliban. So
it doesn't go to the Taliban, does it? It goes to NGOs. It goes to
Afghanistan, and the Taliban Afghanistan. That's the reality of life.
And
this is again, like, our foreign aid has already been severely cut. Do you think we would have foreign aid if it was down to Reform UK? I would not be surprised if they cut foreign aid altogether if they come into power as well. Just add that. Just think about that for a second. Imagine that. You know, a country like ours, one of the wealthiest because we have a lot of wealth. Imagine us cutting foreign aid, cutting off ourselves from the rest of the world.
My question is, how much would you be willing to pay them?
Sometimes you have to negotiate and do business with people.
You've said that. I'm asking how much.
Well, that's the question of negotiation. We're years away from that. So
Ah, so you can't give a number. Okay, what a surprise. Couldn't give a number, guys. Remember the Mark Thomas comedy project? What happened to that fella? Not sure about that, Chip. Tice, you twat, we have a plan for you to come to Revolution branding. He's such an imbecile. He is an imbecile. He is an absolute imbecile for sure here. Oh god, this one. So Guy told this was on Channel 4 here. Gary Tyler, who's a member of Reform UK board, basically says we're not responsible for the whole world's problems here. Basically saying, like, it's not our problem what happens in the rest of the world here.
Because how do you think this sounds to a member of the Windrush generation, or someone from Afghanistan or Eritrea who's facing torture or even death?
We are not responsible for the whole world's problems. We're responsible for the people of this country.
Yes, but guess what? This might shock you. This might shock you. Okay, guys. This might actually shock him, and it might shock the rest of you. But are you ready for this? Are you guys ready for this? Yeah. Are you ready for this? Yeah. We're actually a part of this planet too. We're part of this planet too. We're on this world too. And we have to share it with everyone else. We have to share it with everyone else. Unbelievable, isn't it? Bet you didn't know that, did ya? Yeah. This little green planet, this little green and blue planet in the solar system called Earth. Yeah, we have to share it with other nations, with other people, other cultures. We are all responsible for this planet. Yeah, and just because we're a small island on this planet doesn't mean that we don't withdraw our responsibilities as well. That we have a right, that we can withdraw our responsibilities. Because guess what? Because we're a smaller nation or something? I don't know. Like, we have a part to play in the world. We have a role to play in the international community. We have a role to play there. And it is up, yes. Is it just down to us? No. Is it down to everyone? Yes. All the nations with the most power, with the most influence, are responsible for doing something about what's happening, for example, in Afghanistan when it comes to facing torture and death. The United States... So I obviously blame mainly the United States, but UK as well. They left the Taliban take control of the country. Women have lost so many rights in Afghanistan since they took over, so many, and that is a direct response to Joe Biden pulling American forces out of there. So much, and it's and. What and how do we respond? We just ignore it. We just carry on. We just carry on and ignore the fact that we abandoned thousands and thousands of women who had lives completely turned upside down, have become nothing more than properties of men, who have become, their faces have been covered up, like everything that they used to be able to do have been taken away from them because of America and Europe have completely abandoned Afghanistan. And have allowed their lives to be taken away from them, stripped from them, their rights all gone. Yeah, these women are nothing more than objects now in Afghanistan. And that's not our problem. Well, it is our problem because we allowed it to happen. You know, just like the British Empire was responsible for what happened in India when Winston Churchill back in the World War II, they took food away from the Indian people. Thousands of Indians died as a result of that. People forget, yeah, the British Empire was not a nice empire. We weren't a very nice empire. We did some very mean things in our history. Our history really matters. People need to remember that. It's really, really important. There is only one race, and it's the human race. I've always said this. It's not about your religion. It's not about your gender. It's not about your skin color. It's not about your nationality. It's not about your disability. Yeah, I say this: if you're good to me, I'm good for you. Good to you. You know. All these other things are relevant. Like, if you're a good person, that's all that matters to me. If you're a good person, that's the main thing that matters to me. That is the most important thing. Treat everyone the same. But obviously, this arsehole doesn't know that.
How does somebody who served our country and is living on the streets feel about the hostels and the hotels being provided for people who arrived here on the boat? We don't know who they are undocumented. In some cases, they've been arrested for alleged terrorist activities.
Now, there is a small number of that, and I do agree that we don't know everything about every single person that comes across on the boat. I do accept that premise. Yeah, I accept that premise. Yeah, that everybody who comes across on the boat is not perfect. However, the majority of those people that do come across on our boats, yeah, they cannot work. They cannot contribute unless that asylum application gets accepted. And I literally have just done a video today. I kid you not, guys. I literally done a video today, and members can check it out if they want to now. It'll come out in the next couple of days. I literally did a video today where essentially and they're going to be changing the law on this, right? Essentially, when your asylum application is if it's accepted in the UK, you will have only 28 days to find a new home for yourself. 28 days. So the accommodation that you're in, you'll get your application finally accepted. You will have only 28 days to sort your life out before you are kicked out and homeless. How on earth is somebody who got accepted asylum in the UK is supposed to start a life in the UK in just 28 days? Portugal sends doctors, teachers, and companies to create jobs create jobs for our former colonies, but we never interfere in their politics. We nudge them to democracy and personal rights, but no interference, says Zhao. And that's exactly the way it is. Even the French still still politicking in African countries as well. Even the French do. I hear it all the time. Scottish honour systems, good guy or wanker. Good guy or wanker. Sometimes I'm nice to the people who have a nice rack, says Simon says 55. Okay. Got to salute the person impersonator. There's a hazy line between protection and others and interference in other cultures, says person impersonator. Yes, that is true. That is true. But in terms of the cultures and whatnot, the line of where it comes to, like, we know that women are not treated like, there has been some traction, like, let's just say, for example, Saudi Arabia, for example. We know that women don't have as much rights as they do here, for example. But there needs to be more done to push that way. But there has been some progress in improving women's rights. It's been slow, but there has been some. There, for example. Someone on Twitch is asking me, so where do you stand on people being arrested for putting up the Union Jack? Is there not freedom of expression? Is that not a violation of the Human Rights Act of 1998, people being arrested and fined? Well, obviously, if you read up the rules, and feel free to use Google yourself, I'm not even going to bother saying your name, you would know that you are not allowed to put flags up on lampposts. You're not allowed to put them up. It doesn't matter if they're English flags. It doesn't matter if they're European flags. It doesn't matter if Palestinian flags. You're not allowed to do it. And those idiots who are doing it, and I've said that I talked about the flag stuff earlier, so you obviously missed it all. But putting up flags doesn't make you more English. Doesn't make you a better person. Doesn't make you more patriotism or whatnot. It's how you act as a person. How you speak, how you respond, how you basically live your life. That just defies who you are. Putting up flags doesn't make you more or less of an English person. So where do I stand on people being arrested for putting up the Union Jack? Well, if you can prove to me where people have been doing that, feel free to show me. But as far as I'm aware, since when I was looking up information, I've not seen that. So I don't know where you're getting your information from. But as far as I'm concerned, people are not allowed to put up flags on lampposts. Because guess what? It's not their property. It's public property. But anyways, we've talked enough about flags anyway.
And yet our own servicemen ex-servicemen still sleep on the streets. How do they feel? Those are the people I care about. I'm sorry, I don't care about the whole world.
Now, as in terms of veterans, he's absolutely right that more needs to be done for our veterans. I absolutely agree, but I don't recall him. Has there been a story of him helping veterans off the streets? You know, has he been working with veteran charities, helping to work with veterans who are homelessness to help them get on the streets? Has he been working with any veteran charities that you guys know of? Tower here. Has he been working with charities to help veterans? Has he done any of that work? Can anyone tell me? Answer on a postcard, please. Because you can talk about he's a member of Reform UK Board, right? And he's talking about wanting to help veterans, right? What is he doing to help veterans? Yeah, with his position of power, yeah, because he has influence in that party. What's he doing to help veterans? Exactly, he's not doing anything. Now, bear in mind, he has changed his position on this today.
There is a realistic possibility that if you go forward with this, there might be a case where someone arrives in the UK by a small boat, you send them back to the country from which they came, and they will be tortured or killed because of a decision that you've made. How does that sit with you?
Well, the alternative, of course, is to do nothing.
So straight away off the line there, the alternative is to do nothing. So you're sending someone back that could be tortured or killed. Basically, it's Nigel Farage basically saying, fuck you, you're not British, I don't care. That's essentially what Nigel Farage is saying. I don't give a fuck. Yeah? You're not English, I don't give a fuck about you. Okay, my wife's German, but that's different. But you, I don't care about. That's what Nigel Farage is basically saying here.
I mean, that's the very clear alternative, is we just do nothing. We just allow this problem to magnify and grow. We cannot be responsible for all the sins that take place around the world. It's just literally impossible.
Again, this is about he rather than work with international communities, they just want to kick the problem away. They want to push the problem away. They just want to show up to build up walls and whatnot. It's just nonsense from Nigel Farage. Absolute nonsense. An example of a man who's sadly misguided here.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not racist. But how many people have we got on streets here as own people queuing up at food banks and that, and they're coming over in a dinghy?
Well, obviously, if you if you wanted to, I don't know where you read your information and news from, but what people coming across on the boats don't have anything to do with people queuing up for food banks. You know, that's called people coming across on the dinghies. That's an immigration problem. People queuing up for food banks is something called, I don't know, he's obviously not aware of this. There's something called the cost of living crisis that we are in. Something that the media is not really keen to talk about. And that's why people are in the situation they're in. You know, there was something called austerity that happened under the Conservatives. I don't know if he was aware of that. I don't know. He must have been living under a rock where basically everybody's lives are worse off. He obviously is not aware that it's near to next impossible for people to be able to buy a home. You know, because me and my partner, obviously, we can't afford. We've given up on buying a home because of how expensive it is. You know, it's not like if I was a single person, I would never be able to rent on my own, even if I was earning. You know, if I was earning a decent wage, I still wouldn't be able to be earned of it. Like, this is how stupid and blind. I say stupid and blind that some of these people are. Like, they are connecting the cost of living and all of its problems and everything that's happening to this, saying, "Don't get me wrong, I'm not racist." Well, that's because you're not obviously reading the full picture here. You are racist by saying you have a problem with people coming across wanting to contribute to society. You are racist. That's the problem. They don't want to accept that.
Our proposals will save, over the course of the next decades, tens and possibly even hundreds of billions of pounds. The easiest thing for us to do on the Brexit camp is just to talk about the net figure. And the net figure is £34 million every single day, £10 billion a year.
£10 billion a year. Yeah? So there's Nigel Farage telling you, yeah, that their plans are going to save tens of billions of pounds in 2025. This is and there he is saying Brexit will save us £10 billion a year. People don't read. People forget what people have said in the past. People forget what Nigel Farage has said. He's a charlatan and he's a liar. And once again, Implausible Blog points out the lies in Nigel Farage. Again. Forgot to like the tweet. I would love to see the right care about violence against women and girls in the round, and then I would believe that it's not just rape trope. Ava Saran dismisses right-wing double standards on violence against women and girls. I think this is quite a fascinating point here.
You think about the rape conviction rate last year, it was 4%. What if you manage to convict an asylum seeker because they have come here and done something heinous? Is that going to change all of the white men in this country who go out every single day and do commit violence against women and girls? You know, I'd love to see the right care about violence against women and girls in the round, in total. And then I would believe them that this wasn't just a racist trope that they were using because they don't like other nationalities being here.
And this is a fantastic point here. What you have here is where, like, I've said this before, like, where are they when it comes to the white people who are doing these things? They're nowhere to be seen. They are nowhere to be seen when it's white people doing them. That's the problem. Yeah, if you have a problem, it's got to be fairly distributed here. Like, it's all great them talking about, oh, I'm worried about women and girls and whatnot. Well, are you worried about the white grooming gangs? Like, would you like to see the police doing more about white grooming gangs in the UK? Like, don't you think they are a bigger issue right now because there's more white grooming gangs than there are brown grooming gangs in the UK or in England specifically? Wouldn't you like to see them being dealt with just as much? Like surely you're not being just racist here. Like, surely you have a problem with white grooming gangs as well. Like, this is what you need to pivot them towards. Yeah, saying you have an issue with a tiny minority of people, with tiny minority. Zoe Gardner, absolutely. I love this piece here from Zoe Gardner here. I'm just going to play this and just listen to what she has to say. You know, every single time. I'd love to have her on, but obviously I'm just a small YouTuber. But I would love to be on a round table with her again, you know, because I really do admire not just her work, but, you know, she always keeps coming out with not just it comes across with the right information, but also the way she puts it out as well.
We may have received 100,000 asylum seekers in the last year. About half of them came on a small boat. In the same time period, a couple of years ago, we received 10 times as many people from Ukraine. But what was the difference? We received them through a safe route. So it was a regulated arrival of people. They had a safe route to come here, and nobody from Ukraine got onto a small boat and had to be put up in one of these asylum accommodation centres. We provided them with housing. We let them move directly into the labour market. We let them access the benefit system.
And here's the and right there, right? No one was saying, I don't recall anyone. I don't recall any politicians. I don't recall any of the medias. I don't recall any journalists. I don't recall anyone battering an eyelid saying we can't let Ukrainians come into the UK. We can't let them claim asylum here in the UK. We can't let them have our homes, have jobs, and provide safety and sanctity for them. I didn't hear none of this about Ukrainians. In fact, people were proud of it. And when I heard these stories about how people took in Ukrainians and whatnot, it was very lovely to hear. You remember this? You guys remember this? I don't remember, like, I'm sure, I don't know if there was a case at the time of people complaining about Ukrainians, but I sure as hell don't remember when the war happened.
And it worked very well, and there has overall been overwhelming support from the public for it. So it isn't actually about the numbers. The numbers are much smaller than other groups of immigrants. The problem is how they are forced to travel to this country because they have no safe way of reaching us, and how we then accommodate them in this destructive asylum system. Now,
thank you for the £2 super chat, Alison Kidd. Co-host a live stream dual stream with her. Then that's not gonna the only way I would be able to be a part of a live stream with her is I would have to be on like the Sunday roast or a much bigger group to be on with her. That's very, very unlikely. And you know, considering that she's talking to literally mainstream media here, like it's very unlikely for me to. I'm not. You know, her time is much more precious than my time, guys, because what she does is far more important than what I'm doing. But thank you so much for the £2 super chat. But you know, if she gets on like a Sunday roast or something, you know, and somebody invites me on to be there, obviously I'll be there, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to go out of my way. Of course, I would love to chat with her again, but you know, she's got far more important interviews and time to be making than with me, guys. Respectfully, she seems permanently. He seems permanently concerned that something is chewing on his nuts. Yeah, you're talking about the last guy. Yeah. But thank you for the £2 super chat, Alison Keir. Much appreciated.
That keeps them for an average of over a year, not allowed to work, not allowed to do anything, stuck in this squalid accommodation. Of course that creates tensions. Of course that creates bad outcomes. The fact of the matter is that the UK is always going to be a destination for some asylum seekers. We're a safe country. We have strong ties to lots of countries around the world. Realistically speaking, we will always be a destination. We can either manage that well, or we can do what we're doing now and manage it so poorly that it results in race relations being at their lowest point for decades, and these baying mobs outside the homes of innocent people, men, women, and children. I emphasize again, children living in these hotels who are fearing for their lives, listening to huge mobs of racists chanting for their removal. It is absolutely sickening.
You have to remember as well is that these people don't want to be in hotels. They don't want to be locked up. They don't want to not be allowed to work. They want to be able to do something with their lives. Lots of these people who are in them, they just want to be able to do something with their lives. And the thing is that they are living in fear because of how the likes of Nigel Farage and GB News and whatnot are treating them. They're just treating them. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I appreciate the super chat, honestly, Aston. I really appreciate it. But she's got far more important people to talk to than me, respectfully. In all honesty, if people want to put it out there, yeah, feel free to do so. And by the way, if one of you moderators can put a link to her YouTube channel, Zoe Gardner's YouTube channel, she does have a YouTube channel. Please put that in the description. Put that in the chat for those who don't know. She does have a YouTube channel. She doesn't always put up videos, but normally her videos are ones from chats she's had with Sky News or whoever as well. So do subscribe to her YouTube channel if you don't have any other social medias, guys.
Do you not think, I mean, so particularly as regards the protests in Epping, which came after a crime being committed, do these people not have legitimate concerns to suddenly have large numbers of people turn up in their community that they have no say over?
Then he's absolutely right to have it is a fair. Now, some people may say that's like the term legitimate concerns. Of course, people have a right for legitimate concerns. There is a right to that, but we also have a huge we do have a housing problem that needs to be dealt with as well. But where are you supposed to put these people? This is the thing.
Well, the asylum seekers themselves have no say over where they're housed. Let's start with that. If it was a homeless shelter, or let's say a church, because there was a vicar arrested for a prolific range of sexual assaults and abuses just yesterday, and we haven't seen any protests taking place outside of churches. Why? Because we recognize that one individual white Christian is not a representative of an entire parish of white Christian people. And so we don't go outside a church filled with worshippers and scream racist abuse at people when a white vicar is arrested on sexual offense charges. To go to a place where asylum seekers are accommodated through no choice of their own, because another asylum seeker is suspected of having committed an offence, is racist. It is not acceptable. It is not a legitimate way to express a political opinion. And if you have a problem with the way that the government is undertaking the dispersal of asylum seekers, then your target of protest is the government. It is not innocent people who happen to be asylum seekers, who happen to share the ethnicity of somebody you think may have done something wrong. That is not a legitimate way to protest. And unfortunately, we have politicians in this country who have forgotten that very basic, very simple principle and are instead egging on these protests and hoping to build them into something that is really frightening on our streets.
And she's completely correct. And she's absolutely correct. And she's bang on the money. She's absolutely right. People, you are racist if you think that every single person is considered a threat to you, of every single asylum seeker is a threat to you, because that is not true. And what you end up starting doing as well, which you see in America from some people, is what you are already seeing here in England in particular, is you are seeing legal migrants, legal people in the UK, some of them even British citizens who are not asylum seekers, who have been living, working, contributing in the UK for years and years and years, or decades. Some of them may have been of Pakistani or from Middle Eastern origins, of whatnot, of different colours, will start be held in abuse or in insults and whatnot, all because they think that they are migrants or that they shouldn't belong in this country, that they think that they should be sent, go back to your own country, sort of language that you start hearing, even though the fact that they were born and even though the fact that some of those people were born and raised in England. And it is simply, they will simply base it off the fact, oh, because of their skin colour, they cannot be English, therefore they must be a migrant or they must be an asylum seeker. That seed will be planted in their minds. And it all stems from this. And Zoe Gardner's absolutely right. You are a racist if you have a problem with this. Because you do, because I've always said about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. And it's really important that you try and put yourself in other people's shoes about this kind of stuff. And that's why I just wanted to share this little thing I saw here. Someone tagged Nigel Farage in this. Please indicate which of these human rights you are hoping to abolish. The right to life, freedom of torture, freedom of slavery, the right to liberty, the right to a fair trial, the right to not be punished for something that wasn't against the law at the time, the right to respect for family and private life, freedom of thought, consent and consciousness and religion, freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, the right to marry and start a family, the right not to be discriminated against the respect of these rights, the right to protection of property, the right to educate, the right to participate in free elections, the abolishment of the death penalty. These are human rights, yeah? Yeah, we could lose these under Nigel Farage by the ECHR. We could lose these. It is very, very possible we could lose these. Sounds crazy, yes, but it can happen. It can happen, guys. I'm going to save the funny videos till the end of the live stream because I've gone way... I said to myself, yeah, we'll probably just do an hour at best, and we're already 1 hour 15 minutes, and I still haven't even covered Gaza. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. Let's just keep going, guys, because I want to get some Gaza in. But don't worry, I've got some funny videos. I've got one or two funny videos, and I've got 1 or 2 good warm style heart stories as well. I want to share as well. So on the 4th and 5th of September, Jeremy Corbyn is hosting a public they're going to be holding their own public inquiry into the British, the government's inquiry into the complicity in Israel's war crimes. So they're going to hold their own public inquiry, and I'm very interested to hear how this inquiry goes for them there. Even though it's not a proper one, I still think it's really, really important.
What I said all along was that I'm quite prepared to organise our own inquiry. So we have, on the 4th and 5th of September, for 2 days in Church House in Westminster, there will be an open public inquiry. It will be live on YouTube and lots of other platforms and channels. And at that inquiry, we'll be hearing voices from people in Gaza, in the West Bank, aid workers, journalists, lawyers, international legal experts, and we've invited, and she's agreed to come, Francesca Albanese, to give evidence as well. And it will be held over 2 days, and there will be a small group of assessors who will assess all the evidence, and it will all be published. It can't change government policy of itself. but it can and will create a debate and a narrative about the dishonesty of the way governments have behaved, the way in which Western European and North American governments behave by continuing to supply weapons to Israel, knowing full well, those bombs are going to drop on schools and kill children.
And this is about, once again, opening up the hearts and minds of people, reminding people out there that this is happening. Here's our witnesses and collaborations of people saying that. And that is what this inquiry is going to be. I'm going to actually read up a little bit more on this. It's the 4th and 5th of September. Oh, it's next week, Thursday. I could go to it, actually. Interesting. I could go to it. I do have Thursday free. Might be worth looking into. I'll have a think about it. More on Gaza here. The second strike on Nasser Hospital was premeditated. The Palestinian ambassador to the UN has told the Security Council meeting in New York. It's premeditated. And once again, this is what Israel are doing. Targeting and destroying the lives of innocent people. A hospital with, once again, another hospital. More lives being destroyed there. Nova Right 87, hello there. Hope you're doing well. As Sakir says, example, look at what happened to the Scottish Scouts that got abused a few weeks ago. Giles says, maybe having an AI overlord will benefit us. Yes, allow Grok to oversee all our things. What could possibly go wrong there?
So again, the world was witness to Israelis' execution of civilians in broad daylight. The second strike on Nasser's hospital was a premeditated strike on medics and journalists who arrived at the scene after the first strike. This is not a war. These are atrocities committed against an entire civilian population. 2 million people, and against all those trying to assist them, to save them, and against all those documenting the crimes. And while Israel prevents UN staff from returning to uphold their mandates in Gaza, it also still prohibits international journalists and international investigations from entering Gaza, insisting to maintain control of the crime scene and to prevent the full reality from reaching the world to evade accountability.
Yeah, they're continuously denying what's showing the world of what's actually happening within it, and I couldn't be more true. I couldn't agree more. What's happening is absolutely terrible. Another hospital. The journalist, obviously, we touched on it yesterday as well. Absolutely heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking indeed. Now, there was some letters. There was one lefty Twitter account that attacked Ed Davey for doing this. Now, I want to just point this out here. I don't like the Liberal Democrats. In any way, shape. I'm not a fan of the Liberal Democrats, in my opinion. But I think, it's quite strong for Ed Davey to do this. But I still think it's better that he does this rather than doing nothing.
We can't allow him to leave our country without humanitarian crisis.
But he's not going to. And as much as I appreciate Ed Davey trying to kind of stand up and do this boycott, it's not going to make a single difference to Donald Trump in any way, shape or form. Because if you ask Donald Trump about Ed Davey, he won't even know who the fuck Ed Davey is, respectfully. That is just the sheer reality, That is the sheer reality of it. It's not going to change a thing. I appreciate the boycott, because I do agree with him that Donald Trump is the one that can stop this. But it's not going to make a damn difference. Ellie, good to see you there. I hope you are doing well. This is a wounded young man in Gaza crawls along the Nasser hospital courtyard without a wheelchair or crutches, and a powerful image reflecting the immense suffering of the injured and the collapse of basic healthcare rights. Now, I want to just I want to be clear about this clip. I have suspicions a lot about this clip because I can't verify this. And if you look at the area around it, I don't know how realistic that is Gaza. And also, if I'm absolutely 100% honest, if I think this is Gaza, wouldn't someone want to help him? This is the thing. Wouldn't someone want to help him? So I'm not saying it's not true, because I don't know for 100% for sure. But it could be true. It might not be. But it's hard for me to, considering how much destruction we have seen of Gaza. It's hard for me to. There is a part of me that wonders, how serious is this? Now, obviously, this comes from the times of Gaza, so it could be very well be legitimate. But I am a bit self-conscious at the same time as well. I hope it's not true. I hope it's not true. But if it is, like, what just infuriates me just as much as anything is the fact that he's doing this and there's nobody helping him. That's the thing that infuriates me more than anything. That's the thing that upsets me more than anything here. This one's quite horrific to listen to. So I'm probably not going to listen. I'm not going to play it. But basically, the man in Gaza recalls the moment the neighborhood was struck with an airstrike, and he comforts the children of his house. It's quite distressing, and I don't know if you guys are prepared to listen to it or not. But I want to play this clip here, which boils my blood here.
I'm Richard Kemp here at one of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation's distribution centres inside Gaza. You will have heard a lot of propaganda about violent attacks in and around the GHF sites here. It's all lies generated by Hamas in order to discredit the GHF. The Hamas hate the GHF because the GHF delivers aid directly into the hands of the Gazan people without being seized by Hamas and sold at a profit. Very many of the people behind me here have told me it's the first time they've ever received free aid. So don't believe the propaganda that's been churned out by Hamas and amplified by too much of the international and national media.
Yep, that's what he says. Yep, don't believe them, right? Don't believe them, yeah? Yeah, don't believe them, yeah? Let me show you something. Yeah, don't believe them. Don't believe the media, guys. Don't believe the propaganda, yeah? Because this is propaganda, apparently, yeah? That's propaganda right there, yeah? How many times have you seen images like this? Yeah, how many times have you seen images like this? Of people trying to get food. Luckily, in the end, he gets the food. But how many times have you seen images like that, yeah? How many times? I'll take you to that one in a second. Here we go again. Like, it's all propaganda, this is. Apparently, this is propaganda, yeah? People, this is all propaganda. This isn't really happening to Palestinians right now, yeah? Apparently, this isn't happening to Palestinians, yeah? Inside Gaza. It's all propaganda, apparently. So, like, I'm not even going to bother playing the sounds on them. Because literally the images speak for themselves here. Yeah? What about this, yeah? What about this here, inside this home here? Yeah, should I put on the sound? It'll be distressing. I'm going to put on the sound, guys. It's going to be distressing. I'm going to turn it quite down. So this is fake, yeah? It's literally outside this person's home. Yeah, this is propaganda, right? This is propaganda, yeah? This is probably one of the few homes that hasn't been struck yet as well by missiles, yeah? This is propaganda, apparently, guys. This is what they are living through every day. Fear. Every single day. Apparently this is propaganda according to this fucking... according to this this fuckhead here. Yeah? Apparently Richard Kemp says everything... The clips I just played to you, yeah? Apparently they're all fucking AI, yeah? Yeah, obviously he knows, doesn't he? He doesn't know, guys. He doesn't know the truth. what people who do know the truth are the journalists who are in Gaza.
This is the last call from Gaza City. For all foreign journalists in the world, please come to Gaza and start covering with us. We don't have any protection. 245 Palestinian journalists killed at the moment. Please come to us and compress in your governments in everywhere and come to Gaza. We don't have any protection. We don't have gasoline in our cars. We have expired vests and wear it. Come to us before the occupation invasion Gaza City in the next month. They will destroy everything here. It will be a lot of mass cries in this place.
You have journalists from Reuters, from AP News, Al Jazeera, Middle Eastern Eye. So many journalists have died and have taken their lives. This is a journalist pleading for more to come, to continue to cover what is happening here, to not allow it to be silent. To not allow it to be silent, guys. I don't think you need a sound for this one. Each square of this, each square represents 10 children murdered by Israel in Gaza. Remember, each square you're about to see on this, yeah? Each square. Ten children. Each square. Yeah? I can't keep count, and I'm sure as hell you guys can't keep count. But each square you're seeing, as it keeps going along, 10 children have died. Children we're talking about, guys. Some good news. Some good news here. An American airline kicked an Israeli passenger off the plane due to inappropriate comments regarding Gaza. People have learned how to deal with Zionists. Now, I want to be clear before I play this clip. We're probably going to go longer, guys, because I do want to share the good news and funny videos before we head out. I don't know the full context of this story. I can only go by the video clip. So I'm going to play it, and you can make your own decision on this, okay?
Sir. 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 Sir, how are you today? Everything good? The captain of the airline would like to remove from your staff. What do I get for that? I'm sorry? What do I get for that? When we get outside, we'll talk to the airline and try to help you out the best we can. What do I get for that? I don't know. It's up to the airline. But when we get outside, we'll talk. Right. Well, the airlines are on board. They're out of the ticket counter. We'll help you out the best we can, but you have to get off the flight. Everybody wants you off the flight because the captain and the airlines both have asked you to get off the flight. Well, one, I guess you were kind of rude and inconsiderate, but their reason's not important. You don't have to be here. So they've asked you, and we're asking you, the sheriff's office is asking you as nice as we can, please come off the aircraft. Thank you. Thanks. Do you have any bags on the... Yes, ma'am.
I don't know the full story, but if it's true, fair play to the captain of the airline for kicking him off for if he said comments about Gaza that were inappropriate. Again, I don't know the full context. Now this here, this was a couple of weeks ago, so I've missed this story apparently. The Freedom Flotilla announced its intention to set sail again, this time with dozens of boats coordinating from 44 countries carrying aid, food, medicine and doctors. The 18-year siege Gaza has to be broken. Now, this is going to be very challenging for Israel because they're talking about using multiple boats. So does that mean they're going to have to blow up? So the only way they're going to stop these boats getting to Gaza, because they're going to have to shoot them. They're going to have to shoot them because they're not going to be able to stop them all.
We are sailing again to break the siege.
And this time, we're sailing with dozens of boats.
And with coordinated mobilizations from 44 countries around the world.
This will be the biggest international solidarity effort ever since Israel implemented its horrific siege 18 years ago.
The genocide against Palestinians in Gaza has been escalating for 22 months.
Israel has dropped the equivalent of 8 atomic bombs on men, women, and children.
Hospitals, shelters, schools, and homes completely destroyed.
Tens of thousands of unidentified victims.
And possibly hundreds of thousands more unidentified victims from the bombings, shootings, and starvation.
Never in history have so many journalists, UN workers, and health workers been killed.
And we simply cannot stand by while this continues.
That's why the free people of the world are standing up and sailing forward.
We are sailing again to...
I don't know when they're sailing. I don't know if they have sailed, because this was put up by Howard Beckett on the 11th of August. But I really do wish them all the best. I really do. I really wish them all the best. But doing multiple boats instead of one boat, that's definitely going to be much harder for Israel to deal with. And the only other option is for them to shoot them out of the sea. Which, by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that anyway. So this is the last. I'm going to go to some good stories after this one here. Mehdi Hassan takes someone to task when it comes to what's happening in Gaza. Once again, I do support Sateo, support his work. He does great stuff. I just cannot say enough nice things about him here. Man does his homework as always.
Like you said, you had the world's support on October the 7th, but you lost it by doing a genocide and now by starving children in Gaza. There's a famine. That's what the world is saying. We can't tolerate the famine.
We lost it to a great extent because of Hamas propaganda. But as long as we have the United States...
It's not Hamas propaganda to say there is a famine in Gaza, Danny. That is the ruling of the IPC.
There is no famine in Gaza.
So why did the IPC say there is a famine? Why does the IPC, which defines what is and isn't a famine, and has done so for 20 years, why is it saying there's a famine in Gaza City?
The IPC changed the criteria.
That's a lie.
The IPC was not even there.
That's a lie. What criteria did they change?
It's based itself
what criteria did they change, Danny? That's a lie.
No,
what criteria did they change? What criteria did they change? Hold on. Danny, you just made a false claim. What criteria did they change? I keep hearing this talking point. It's false. There was no change in criteria. What criteria did they change?
They changed many criteria, but I
didn't change any. Hold on, Danny. What criteria did the IPC change? Because they used the same criteria, the MUAC criteria, that they used to declare a famine in Sudan last year. They used the same criteria in Gaza. You made a false claim. Let me say this, not just the IPC. Over 100 humanitarian aid groups from around the world just signed a joint statement saying Israel is blocking them from bringing in aid. You want us to believe you, the Israeli military, Netanyahu, Smotrich, but not ANERA, Christian Aid, the Danish Refugee Council, the Norwegian Refugee Council, Polish Humanitarian Aid, Pax Christi, Sabeel Kairos, Oxfam, Doctors Without Borders, Save the Children. I could go on and on, Danny. Are you going to say they're all Hamas? They're all pro-Hamas, are they? Ridiculous.
No, I think they are naive, and I think they are basing their assessment on Hamas
No,
data.
they're not. They're not using Hamas data. They're saying that we are being blocked from bringing our trucks in. Danny, they're not talking about famine.
There was famine.
Danny, listen to me. They're not talking about famine. They're not talking about famine. They're saying, can I finish a sentence?
In Sudan, in
Danny,
Somalia,
they are
Africa.
not talking about famine
the same thing here.
or Hamas propaganda or Hamas data. They're saying their guys on the ground are being blocked from bringing in baby formula by Israelis at border crossings. That is their experience. They're wrong. ANERA's wrong. Christian Aid's wrong. The Danish Refugee Council is wrong. The Norwegian Refugee Council is wrong. Polish Humanitarian Action is wrong. Doctors Without Borders is wrong. Save the Children is wrong. Oxfam is wrong. 100 aid groups are all wrong, Danny. Do you realize how silly you sound?
He's good. Support Sateo. Support his work. That's all I need to say on that, guys. Do support their work. Do support their work. Oh, I thought I had it up. I didn't have it up. The good. Oh, let me just get to the good. Don't worry, we're going to end with a funny video, guys. I know we've gone over time. But I want to show you the... where is it? Warm-hearted stories. Here we go. Let me get this here. I've got two nice, warm-hearted stories from Gaza here, guys. Like this. The joy of a little girl from Gaza who was able to grab a pot of pasta. Look how happy she's going to be here. I love this, guys. Please play. Please play. Hold on. Refresh. Don't do this. Don't do this to me now, please. We're so close to the end. There he is. Look how happy. She's so happy. She's so happy. She got a big bowl of pasta. Love it. Absolutely love it. Wanted to share that one. Now, this is really lovely. This is really, really nice. I love this one. This is on the 18th of August this year. The fake graduation, guys, in Gaza for lots of kids. Well, that was very nice. Al Jazeera sharing this. So it's Palestinian children who have lost parents were overcome with emotion as they graduated in a ceremony at Gaza's Al Wafifa Orphan Village. The UN said Israel had damaged 97% of the educational facilities in the besieged enclave. What a very nice thing to do. What a lovely, lovely thing to do for these children who have lost so much. Absolutely beautiful. I thought that was well worth sharing, guys. Really want to share that with you guys. So, so what better way to end the live stream? And then don't go just yet. I've got one last thing. It's someone's birthday today, guys. It's someone's birthday today. Do you know whose birthday it is? It's Colin from Portsmouth's birthday today. I'm not joking, guys. So let's give a warm happy birthday to Colin from Portsmouth.
Colin from Portsmouth is on the line. Hello, Colin.
30 years ago, we let children roam the streets. Now they're not allowed out of the house. That's why the values of this country have been eroded, all because of paedophiles.
Good morning, Colin, and happy birthday to you. Hope you're having a lovely...
60 years ago, you couldn't spell pedo, let alone be one, and that all changed under Tony Ruddy Blair. Do you know, pedo is the most spelled word in the English language. That's not a coincidence, is it?
Well, apart from in America where they spell it differently, don't they, Colin?
We've got a lot to learn from America, I tell you. Thank God for Trump, draining the swamp of sex offending.
How are you celebrating your birthday, Colin?
Stripping all this lead paint off the walls.
Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, fair enough.
And replacing it with more lead paint, specially sourced from Russia. Yes, to own the snowflakes. And I painted a St George's Cross on a roundabout last weekend.
Yes.
What have you done for the nation?
Absolutely right. I saw that. It looks a bit diagonal, Colin. I saw the photo. It looks more like a Northern Irish flag to me.
Yeah, I was going to do a Union Jack, but I didn't have any blue. Waiting for some from Russia. What's wrong with a Northern Ireland flag anyway? And that's the problem, in a nutshell, with you metropolitan Starmerites. You hate the thought of us owning a part of another country. I drew a Chagos flag next. Anyway, mate, thanks for having me on. Love to the family.
Love to the family, Colin. Love to the family. You going out for your birthday then?
Yeah, to a National Trust property and taking my own scone.
I thought, happy birthday, Colin from Portsmouth. Do check out Exploding Heads YouTube channel. Be greatly appreciated, guys. Wanted to end with that, for you guys there. So yes, we have gone well over time here. Just a quick reminder before you guys go, I'll be back live tomorrow at 11 a.m. for Good Morning with me. But before you do join Dave McGuinness at 10:30 for the paper review there. If you're up even earlier than that, join Graham Hughes at Morning Brew at 9 a.m. if you can join him for that as well. There will also be the two Davies will have their usual show tomorrow at 4 p.m. If you can join them for that, David McGuinness and David Mulligan, please do. And also at 8 o'clock in the evening tomorrow, myself and One Angry Pagan will be hosting the EcoFlake show. So if you could join us for that, it'd be greatly appreciated. I want to say thank you to Alston Keir for the super chats and gifted memberships. Thank you, Dave McGuinness, for your super chats as well. Greatly appreciated. Thank you guys all for coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. This is much appreciated. Enjoy the rest of your evenings, whatever you guys are doing. But before I go, just have one last thing to say. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, share this across social media, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. And do check out other links down below. And if you want to financially support me and the work that I do here on this channel, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. And thank you all once again so much for watching. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.